It's the second U.S. presidential debate between President Barack Obama and his Republican challenger has taken place. Mitt Romney and the president have had their second debate with both men challenging each other on a range of issues. Now, after the last debate, which most pundits believe Governor Romney won, the president needed to revitalize his base and reverse his opponent's gains. While the candidates clashed on a number of issues, this first exchange on cleaner energy was among several on the night.
In their second of three debates ahead of November's election, President Barack Obama and Republican challenger Mitt Romney clashed on virtually every issue. And unlike their first debate, this one was full of wild cards, as uncommitted voters asked the questions. So who won? A Snap CNN ORC poll of registered voters who watched the debate say Mr. Obama got the upper hand, 46 to 39%.
The debate took place at a university in Hempstead, New York. More than 80 undecided voters asked the questions. Obama took a more aggressive approach than he did in the first debate.
As a 20-year-old college student, all I hear from professors, neighbors, and others is that when I graduate, I will have little chance to get employment.
What do you plan on doing with immigrants without their green card that are currently living here as productive members of society?
In what new ways do you intend to rectify the inequalities in the workplace?
Governor Romney, what is the biggest difference between you and George W. Bush?
One thing that the president said, which I want to make sure that we understand, he said that I said we should take Detroit bankrupt, and that's right. Well, the president took Detroit bankrupt.
And Governor Romney says he's got a 5-point plan. Governor Romney doesn't have a 5-point plan. He has a 1-point plan.
Governor Romney, there'll be plenty of chances here to go on, but I want to, we have all these folks. I will let you absolutely.
That Detroit answer and the rest of the answer way off the mark.
We haven't heard from the governor any specifics beyond Big Bird and eliminating funding for Planned Parenthood.
In the last 4 years, you cut permits and licenses on federal land and federal waters in half.
Not true, Governor Romney.
So how much did you cut them by?
Not true. There were a whole bunch of oil companies.
No, I had a question, and the question was, how much did you cut them by?
You want me to answer
How much did you cut them by? Mr. President, have you looked at your pension?
I don't look at my pension. It's not as big as yours, so it doesn't take as long.
Let me give you some. I think you know that these last 4 years haven't been so good as the president just described.
When he said behind closed doors that 47% of the country consider themselves victims, think about who he was talking about.
If I become president, I'll get America working again. I will get us on track to a balanced budget. The president hasn't. I will.
People who are working hard every day, I want to fight for them. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, because if they succeed, I believe the country succeeds. That's why I'm asking for your vote, and that's why I'm asking for another 4 years.
All right, thanks.
Now, the American economy definitely featured heavily in this debate. Unemployment is still hovering around 8%. That's what concerns many voters. The two candidates have very different ideas about how to tackle the problem. Mitt Romney says he'll lower taxes, balance the budget and boost trade. He's also pledged to deregulate the finance sector, and he's pledged to reduce the size of government by cutting 10% of the federal workforce and capping spending at 20% of GDP. President Obama, though, has a very different plan to reduce the country's soaring deficit. He began his presidency by approving a stimulus package worth nearly $800 billion. The idea was to re-energize the economy through infrastructure projects and public investment. He's also pushing for an end to Bush-era tax cuts that cost the government billions of dollars in revenue. That would mean higher taxes for Americans earning more than $250,000 a year.